All right, Dogs by Nature, Rufio here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a big run by Nick Chubb. This is a sight for sore eyes. This is the party we came for when it comes to the Cleveland Browns running offense and Kevin Stefanski, our new head coach. Simply put, I love this play, and how could you not, right? This is week one. Again, the week we kind of get whooped up on by the Baltimore Ravens. But this play was one of the highlights that we had in that first half, especially, again, when we were able to keep the score close. And I can't emphasize that enough. If you don't catch the last video, that's what we want with this offense, is to keep the score close or to have us ahead so we can utilize this awesome running game we have. Now, before I get to the actual play itself, I just want to take a minute to highlight the block here of Odell Beckham Jr. This is a play that's called to run away from Odell, right? It's almost, you can think of it as like a sweep kind of play, a really far outside run away from Odell. And his job on this play is to push the corner off the line of scrimmage, which check, already done. And then as soon as you do that, to go inside to try to get the safety. Now on this play, Odell knows the call's away from him. He sees that safety kind of flowing away and knows he probably is not going to be able to catch up to the safety, but I might as well try to give 24 here some business. He's probably been covering him all game, probably holding him all game, mugging him all game, if it's anything like last year. And why not go get a block in there? And so Odell comes inside looking for the block. As soon as he realizes Chubb is actually cut toward him, it's game on. Puts his foot in the ground, goes to get one blocker, is able to get just enough 24 to kind of knock him over, knock him off balance as he dives to make a tackle. Then gets his shoulder in the way, a little lean in there, and is able to get another Baltimore Raven to the ground. And then here he is, 20, 30 yards downfield, running, trying to get a piece of a third Raven. Now, a lot of people call Odell a diva. A lot of people say he's a self-centered guy. All he wants is attention. Now, that kind of thing does not typically get you attention. It will on my channel, but in the media, on ESPN, that's not going to get you attention, right? Odell is blocking here for the success of the Cleveland Browns football team, for the success of his teammate, and not for himself. I just like to take a minute to point that out. Interpret that as you will. Now, as we move to the end zone angle, this is really going to show us this run play and how it's supposed to work. We've got here what I call a pin and pull run. And the idea is that we pin defenders down inside with down blocks, right? So we got our two tight ends here. They're going to block down on 53. Then we have Jed, 71, blocking down on 96. We want to pin those guys inside. And then we're going to pull using Bitonio and JC. We're going to pull around that pin. And it's the old Lombardi, Vince Lombardi, you get a seal here, you get a seal there, and we're trying to create that running lane and a hole for Nick Chubb outside with the lead blocker in front, being JC. Now, this play does not end up working out that way, but I love the front side of this play because it is very close to another play that the Browns have run called duo. And a lot of teams that run zone like to run duo because it looks very similar. Now, duo was also a favorite of Bob Wiley and basically everyone in the Hugh Jackson and Freddie Kitchens kind of era of Browns football. So there's a lot of overlap both with the new scheme and with the reps that we got from the old scheme. And the front side of this play is exactly like duo, okay? Duo is called duo because you're going to run it to a two tight end side, which again marries perfectly with what Stefanski, traditionally has done with his offenses. And we're going to get two down blocks, two double teams, right? So the tight ends double team 53, and these two linemen on duo would double team 96. And the idea there is just to overwhelm those two guys with force at the point of attack. Now, with this play, right, we don't have two double teams because we're pulling Bitonio around. But again, for these three players right here, this play is exactly the same, except, obviously Jed doesn't have another guy inside of him to help him out with his block. Now, the next two guys, Bitonio and Treader here, this is a little bit different than what we're used to in terms of zone blocking. But this kind of pull and kick and lead has a lot of similarity with power and with counter. We already started seeing some of those runs against the Bengals actually on Thursday night. And so we know they're in the playbook too. And again, if you learn the technique of how to do this kind of pull and kick out, it's good to see us kind of maximizing that teaching, right? Because for every drill that you do about a kick out, we want to be using that drill, that skill that we build up in our linemen in the actual games, right? So I think we're going to have overlap with these two guys as well in terms of pulling. Another thing we have with these two guys in the role of a puller on an offensive line is athleticism, right? All the guys up front here are on the team for their athleticism. This is not a running scheme that relies on just, dominating one-on-one, just shoving the other guy out of the way, right? It relies on quickness. It relies on technique. It relies on, being, you might be a smaller guy, but you're going to be faster than the guys that you're lined up against. And so with those kind of athletic guys, those fast guys who are used to getting the second level and hitting moving targets, why not pull them, right? They're probably going to be good at it. Now, last but not least, on the back side of the play, there's a lot of overlap here. In fact, it's exactly the same as our outside zone, base running play, right? So if this was outside zone offenses left, our right, these two guys here, right guard, right tackle, would be doing exactly the same blocks that they're doing on this particular play. Now, as we roll the tape forward, we're going to see that this play, it does not go as planned. And that's actually works out just fine for us because we have Nick Chubb at tailback, elite player. But on the front side of the play, we're going to see those down blocks, right? Tight ends down block, they seal 53 inside. Great job. And the idea here with these tight ends, right? These are guys that we need to use in the passing game. Again, they're here for their speed and their movement skills. They are not here just for their raw power. And so when we really need raw power out of them and to block a 270-pound outside linebacker, we're going to put two of them on the field, right? Because you might not win the one-on-one, but you better win the two-on-one. And they do. Inside of them, Jed here, I think, again, his first NFL game, a little over-anxious, right? His footwork is just not quite where it needs to be for this play. He is kind of drive blocking 96, right? So his job is first of all, you can't let him penetrate backside. And you have both your friends here pulling. So there's going to be a big old gap back there. So you can't just let him penetrate up the field. But you also can't let him bubble over the top. So, Jed probably getting excited to just kind of try to drive this guy off the ball. Takes a first step is a little too big, in my opinion. That first step goes pretty wide right here. As we can see, with that leg outside wide at that angle, as 96 comes to our right to Jed's left, Jed can't redirect inside quick enough, right? He's going to have to do the splits to get this foot far enough outside that he can kind of get his body back out there, regain that outside leverage, and seal him inside. So if that first step is just a little shorter, a little quicker, that is going to be able to allow Jed to redirect a little bit better with step number 2. Now, while the technique isn't good on this play, what I love seeing from Jed in this play is that footwork and that athleticism that we drafted him for, those quick feet, right, that you just kind of can't teach. And so you see, even after he gets that step too wide, watch him do a little icky shuffle here, a little get you cold cuts.
Number 44.
Woo! 44, that's me!
Get some cold cuts. Get some cold cuts.
Right? A little. Look at those feet, just like a typewriter, like a sewing machine, right? They're quick, they're pitter-patter, almost like doing agility ladders. Jed's got that in his arsenal. I look forward to seeing him use that. But you can't use that, even that kind of elite physical talent, you can't use that if you start the play off with that bad first step. So with that, Jed allows 96 to kind of bubble over the top of this play, and now he's right in the hole, right? And that's a problem for the Browns offense. Now, going back inside, we got our pullers, and this is our all-pro guard here in Bitonio, and this is what you'd like to see in a kick-out block. So he's going to be aiming for the end man line of scrimmage, 49. And 49, this is a common rule on defense. It's called a block down, step down rule. So if you see that tight end next to you block down on the guy inside of you, then you will step down and kind of take away that space, right? You don't want to open up a big gap there. So you see block down, 85 blocks down, 49 steps down. And now look, he is right in that hole. And even if these tight ends seal their linebacker inside, 49 has stepped down to take away that space. Now, this is exactly the kind of pop that you want to see on contact from an all-pro guard. Bitonio plays with great leverage. Look at him sink that helmet level, get his head to the side so he doesn't get helmet-to-helmet contact, ring his own bell here, get a concussion. He's able to get under the pads of 49 and just lift a grown linebacker out of the way and now recreate that space, right? So you can see here how if the tight ends had sealed 53 inside, if 96 isn't allowed to bubble over the top, we are going to kick this guy out, and that's going to create a big seam for Nick Chubb. And you can imagine that if JC did not have 96 in his way, he's coming up to block 32. And that is Nick Chubb untouched the end zone, ladies and gentlemen, against a 9-man Baltimore front. That's not an 8-man front. That is a 9-man front. Now, as we go backside, Teller here, I would love to see him cut block on this play. I think the Ravens were scheming us up, and they did some of these slants with their defensive line intentionally. So it's a really tough ask for Teller to get his helmet to the play side of 98, especially when on the snap of the ball, 98's job is to slant, right? 98 is aiming for this front side A gap. So he is on the ball. He's running over here. And so for Teller to make up that much ground, get his helmet play side, is just a really, really tough ask. And so you see that he wants to kind of throw right here. He puts his head down. You feel like maybe he could cut block. He does a great job of making up some of that ground, but just not enough of it on this play. And, Chubb sees 98 flash in his line of sight, in his, tree tracks that he's taken to the gap. And that's probably a big reason why Chubb cut this run back. So tough ask for Teller here. He does a great job initially to regain some ground. You'd love to see him just somehow get a little bit more of 98. Maybe cut him, get him to the ground here, just to stop him from wreaking that much havoc in the backfield. Now, Conklin does more of the job that you'd like to see, and it's probably why we paid him a lot as a free agent. He is able to gain ground on 93 and get his helmet to the play side, right? So that is exactly the kind of relationship we want horizontally for our guy and the defender, is to get your helmet play side. It probably helps that, Campbell here is a little caught off guard. He's coming into the play late and had to run in from the sideline, right? So Conklin got a great jump off the snap, took a good line, got his helmet play side. Now, Conklin probably didn't cut 93 here because Campbell's like, I think, 8 feet tall, something like that. And his arms are pretty long here, so it's pretty easy to just stiff arm him to the ground, stiff arm your offensive lineman to the ground. That's one of the reasons scouts love big, long defensive linemen with long arms. Now, we're going to get to the moment where we've all been waiting for, which is break down what Nick Chubb's doing on this play. So Chubb, again, is reading the front side of the play. He's expecting there to be a gap right here for him between 53 and 49. On the snap of the ball, by his second full step, he's got kind of one rhythm step and then 1, 2. At that point, before that foot even fully goes down, you see that little hesitation by Nick Chubb. He knows he's cutting this run back. And that is just elite vision to be able to process all of this going on that quickly, that he knows I'm cutting back. And then it's the athleticism to put that foot in the ground, make that little cut, and then run away from 9 guys really on Baltimore's defense, and then be able to escape the grasp of 36 to safety. Now, I want you to watch here what Baker does, because he's been doing a pretty solid job of this so far. But there's one little thing I think he could improve on. Baker's job on all these zone run plays, running plays outside away from him, is to get the handoff and then to burst out of there on a bootleg fake. So you love that he's getting his hands back, right? Like hands up in his chest, like it's in a throwing position. You love his body lean, and that lean means that he is actually bursting out of there and taking a few steps of a sprint away. And the one thing that I would like to see Baker improve on is look at his head. His head snaps all the way around immediately to watch Nick Chubb. And I mean, can you really blame him too much? You got a front row seat to see Nick Chubb. I might watch him a little bit too. But, you really want Baker to get his Brett Favre on here, right? Keep his eyes downfield and come out of there throwing some of those, air ball fakes like Favre used to do. So I think Baker can carry out this fake a little bit longer, a little bit stronger, and have a little bit more pull with these backside guys. Now, if you watch 40, Malik Harrison here, you can see that Baker has just enough pull on this play to make this work. Ball gets handed off, and you see Harrison right there with that left foot. He comes in. It's just that one little hesitation and that one little step upfield before he really breaks inside that allows him that space to not be able to come down and get Nick Chubb. And that little hesitation right there is caused by Baker bursting out of that handoff, bursting out of that mesh point and trying to carry out a fake. So the better fake that is, the more that it's going to hold these backside guys. And then if these backside guys don't get held at all, that's when we come out here with that bootleg play action pass, and it's beautiful to watch. Now, as we forward through the next part of Nick Chubb's run, we see him, again, run away from a safety. And then this is another thing I love about Nick Chubb is he is elite at setting up his blocks. So at this point, he knows he's got the safety beat. He knows he probably can't beat 24 to the sideline and straightaway sprint. You know, Nick Chubb is a lot of things, but he's not that kind of little tiny, ultra speed back who's just going to run away from everybody on the field, especially corners. But the way that he just uses this little move right here, heading straight up the field to make 24, stop pursuing outside, redirect inside, and then Chubb bounces out as he runs into the block of Beckham. That is Nick Chubb setting up blocks. That's vision, that's anticipation, and that's really what Nick Chubb is so good at, as we've seen in 3 years now with the Browns. And he's able to help Odell, who is not, a 6'5", Calvin Johnson type of player, to be able to get enough of 24 here to block him to the ground. And then Odell does that little shoulder hang in front, make sure he doesn't get a flag there, just to trip up the safety, and off to the races. Exactly what we'd love to see as Browns fans. So here that is from the end zone, ladies and gentlemen, in full speed. That's it for me this week, y'all. I'm Rufio. Make sure to visit dogsbynature.com for all your Cleveland Browns news and analysis. If you guys have made it this far, please, just really help me out if you like and subscribe to the channel. That'll help you find out when these videos go live, and it'll just help spread these videos, get them seen by more people. All right, so thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.